What's poppin' knights? It's OnoKage, otherwise known as the King. And I come to you with another exciting part 2. What if the UZUMAKI clan survived? Now, this part is fun. Sad, but fun. Because I have to touch up on Nozumi's mental issues that she's going through a lot right now. And if you know a bit about the character Nozumi, not going to do like a big recap on the character, but after Itachi got kind of stabbed in the part in front of her and kind of bled a lot, and now he's in the intensive care unit, she's dealing with a lot of mental stress from that. And that's kind of been my biggest problem, because I don't want to belittle people who've been through that stuff by saying it gets better with just one snap or a click of the finger, because it doesn't. It really doesn't. It takes time to heal, and we all heal different ways. I personally am lucky that I've had a good support group. My family, there's not many of us, but we're close. We're pretty close. I can say that much from the bottom of my heart. I love my family. And if you don't have that type of support group, it's harder to heal. Now, I don't want to say that I am the one that you should come to when you have these traumatic mental experiences, because I am not smart. I am professionally dumb, clinically stupid, I must say. I am the dumb person who almost accidentally, not almost, I did accidentally set my apartment on fire just trying to cook chicken. I am so dumb at times. It physically causes me pain. I am embarrassed to say that I have a family that still loves me when I am so stupid. Okay, that's done. Back to the calm mode now. I want to say that I'll still listen to your problems and issues, because a lot of the times what helped me out personally was just talking to someone about how I'm feeling. And I know that doesn't help everybody. Some people need different ways to heal. And I just want to say, as long as you put in the effort to get better, no matter what you're going through, you will get better. That much, I don't think that I need a clinically psychological or medical degree to say is true. But enough of this sad stuff. Let's get to the recap, please. Last time on What If the UZUMAKI clan survived, Naruto, Sasuke, Nozomi, and Jiraiya continue traveling in search of Tsunade when they learn the harsh truth of their existence. They're always to be hunted, always sought out for the gifts they were born with. Sasuke, his eyes, Nozumi, her lineage, and Naruto, the beast that dwells inside of him. After learning this, the kids decide to band together, choosing to get stronger so that they can protect each other for the foreseeable future. As they continue to travel, they reach a town Tsunade is said to be in. Nozumi finds her conversing with Orochimaru. As they battle, Nozumi is so filled with rage at the sight of Orochimaru. She awakens her Mangekyo Sharingan, as well as mixing it with her Fumingan. But this leaves her with a massive headache, rendering her unconscious. She awakens in the bar with Tsunade when she's met with the rest of her team, and Tsunade pisses off Naruto, of course, leading to a fight where Tsunade wins, but is so impressed with Naruto, it leads to her final decision. We now continue with the events of today's episode. War on the horizon. So many things have changed with the UZUMAKI clan survival. So let's continue to explore those differences. Let's get into it! Woo!
Don't have time to waste, the king is into
Beast
Your
mode.
ninjas better hide away before I try to beast mob.
Not to win this fairy tale, I got the heat flow. Back the lead in the trunks, I got the heat dome. Got the flow going crazy, that's a shuttle clone. I switch it up and interchange, and yeah, that's how the story goes. Sharingan or Rinnegan, pick one. Either way, you'll stay gone, cause bygones ain't bygones. Then in my hand, make your O go and run. If I just pull that rock, you are so stay like a Picasso. These hands is napalm. Fuck around and find out what I breathe with the sample. Something with the greats, I can ape, you a prince. Oh, I'm a king, what you tell me with no prince? Look, got the knife right behind me in the back. Still gonna fall down when the dogs attack. Oh, like you know, see, I'm the leader of the pack. So what you lay down, bitch, pay respect.
Naruto is still laying on the ground unconscious while Tsunade walks off with Jiraiya. Jiraiya, who orders Nozomi and Sasuke to take Naruto to their hotel room. And Tsunade orders Shizune to follow the kids under the express orders to keep those brats under control. While Nozomi and Sasuke run to check up on Naruto, they look him over and Nozomi says something interesting. Sasuke, did you see? Naruto used his dad's jutsu and not like before. He was almost faster than Lord Fourth. And then that new Rasengan, it was way more powerful. Sasuke nods as Nozomi continues. Sasuke, I didn't notice it before, but we're getting stronger. You activated your Susanoo. My dojutsu came back for a bit. And now Naruto. Sasuke speaks. I've been thinking about it for a while now. Ever since Jiraiya told us about our lot in life. If we're going to get stronger, we need to stay around the Sanhi. They have knowledge to help us grow. Nozomi nods as the two pick up Naruto. They begin making their way back to the hotel room. She looks at Sasuke and says, yeah, and the Orochimaru creep is one of the Sannin too, right? He was able to fight against Uncle Minato, both of our dads, and I don't think he broke a sweat. If all three Sannin were to fight, wouldn't we just be in the way? Like, say that we get Tsunade to come back with us, and then Orochimaru attacks us out of nowhere. What do we do? Sasuke groans, thinking about the question. He then states, ooh, you were thinking. You should probably stop. That's not your style. You're gonna hurt yourself. Nozomi then yells, Sasuke, I'm serious. If what I heard was correct, the Sannin are gonna fight that snake creep. He was trying to make a deal with Lady Tsunade. As they walk, Shizune then enters the conversation. They both forgot that she was there. She says, I don't think you kids should be worrying about that. I'm pretty sure Lady Tsunade and Lord Jiraiya are gonna come up with some plan to take Orochimaru down. Nozomi smiles, saying, yeah, you're right. But Sasuke questions. That all depends on what Orochimaru promised her. If the deal was enticing enough, maybe she would betray the village. But Nozomi yells, Sasuke, you can't be serious. Nothing that snake could offer will be enough to make you turn your back on the people who raised you. Sasuke then thinks back to Jiraiya. The others didn't pay attention, but when Nozomi in that bar mentioned to Orochimaru that he spoke with Tsunade, Jiraiya had flinched. Something about that was uncommon for the old man. He's usually goofy, but always controlled. And for some reason, when he heard that Orochimaru spoke with Tsunade first, he flinched. To Sasuke, it felt like, for an instant, Jiraiya had lost his cool. And that makes Sasuke question. As he states, I wouldn't be so sure about that, Nozomi. What if someone promised you that they could restore your mom's eyes, or make it so that my brother was instantly well again? Or hell, what if they promised you that they could restore your powers, or give you power when you felt helpless? It will be tempting, right? Nozomi thinks for a second. As much as she wants to yell, she can't. Because yeah, it would be tempting. She hates to admit it, but she would consider it. She shakes her head, trying to get those thoughts out of her mind. But Shizune, being the adult, wants to change the subject. So she says, wait, Nozomi, I saw you use your ocular powers. What does Sasuke mean when he says, restore them? And embarrassed, Nozomi smiles, saying, oh yeah, I forgot. I meant to ask Lady Tsunade for her help. You see, from what the old perv says, my Fumingan and Sharingan are at war inside my head. Sasuke then yells, you idiot, she's not going to understand through such a simple explanation. And Jiraiya Sensei did such a good job at explaining it too. You're just too dumb to understand. Nozomi and Sasuke start to argue with each other, and Shizune breaks it up as they reach the hotel. When they lay Naruto down on the bed, Shizune looks the boy over. She then asks Sasuke for a better explanation, and Sasuke tells her, from what I understand, the Fumingan is a man-made dojutsu from the Uzumaki. It was made to combat the Sharingan and Byakugan. It works when the user is calm in mind, and body, and spirit. And to activate the dojutsu, the user has a seal placed on their brain that gives them access to it. But it was recently discovered that the seal has a side effect of some sort. It dampens the more extreme emotions, so that the dojutsu can be used in more tense situations. Shizune nods, getting more of an understanding of the Fumingan. Being outside the leaf for so long, it seems she's missed a lot of information. She then looks at Nozomi, questioning, so wherein does that explanation, does losing access to her dojutsu comes in play? And Sasuke continues, Nozomi is also half Uchiha, so she can utilize the Sharingan, which is activated by intense emotions. And with intense emotions, the dojutsu gets stronger. And Jiraiya believes that that is the root of her problem. One dojutsu needs calm, the other dojutsu needs fire. And that therein lies the root of her problem. This numbskull can't figure out the balance. Nozomi then flicks Sasuke on the forehead, inadvertently shutting Sasuke up. She smiles, saying, I guess Big Bro Itachi was right. That does make you quiet for a second. Sasuke gets up and walks away frustrated, while Nozomi laughs. She then turns towards Shizune, saying, yeah, that's the basics of the dojutsu, but my problem is something crazy kind of happened in our village recently, and Orochimaru was involved. And with that, I felt so many emotions at once. I think I overpowered the seal and lost touch of my Sharingan and Fuigan. I even lost my vision for a second there. I guess it's because I mixed the dojutsu together. But Shizune thinks for a second as she questions. See, you said it again. You say you lost your powers and your dojutsu, but I saw you use them earlier when you faced off with Orochimaru and his assistant. Sasuke begins to lean in, curious to her response, as Nozomi clenches her fist and says, that creep, he just disgusted me. The way he looked at me, as if I wasn't even a threat. The way he spoke about Itachi, like he was some plaything, as if he could ever own Big Bro. It just pissed me off. I was so angry before I knew it, my head started hurting like crazy. And the hand that Orochimaru was pointing at me with, reaching out to me with, it was suddenly on the ground. I wanted to chase after him, but my legs wouldn't move. And then I blacked out. Shizune then thinks about all of her medical experience and work with the brain and work with ninjas after war. She then begins to think of all the issues that can result in a traumatic experience. Depression, BPD, anxiety, PTSD. And then it hits her. Nozomi, you blame yourself, don't you? Nozomi gasps, saying, what? As Shizune continues, whatever happened on that day, whatever you saw, you're blaming yourself, and you don't know how to feel because of it. Nozomi freezes as she states, well, no, I mean, at first, but that was just shock, you know? I don't still feel that way. Sasuke continues to watch and listen as Shizune questions, so how do you feel about what happened, Nozomi? Nozomi clenches her fist tighter, unable to look Shizune in the eyes any longer, tilting her head forward, letting her hair down to cover her eyes as she begins to tremble. And Shizune continues, her tone growing softer, trying to show more compassion for the troubled girl. Nozomi, as a medical ninja, my job isn't just to treat physical wounds. Many ninjas suffer from emotional or even mental damage. And I'm well versed in providing aid, but you need to talk to me, okay? Nozomi still stands, silent, before looking up and smiling. This action makes everyone in the room a little nervous, but more than nervous, it makes Sasuke angry. As Nozomi says, but I don't really want to talk about it right now. I'm gonna go train. I'll be back in a bit. Shizune just sighs, saying, I mean, that's fine, but don't overexert yourself. You just woke up, and I still have to keep my eyes on Naruto. But Nozomi just walks out of the room, and Sasuke follows her. As he walks past Shizune, he says, don't worry, she's just stubborn. I'll talk to her. And while those two go to train, Tsunade and Jiraiya go to drink together and speak, as Jiraiya says, order what you want. Drinks are on me. As they order their drinks, Jiraiya takes a sip of his sake and says, so, what do you think of those kids? Spitting image of their parents, huh? Tsunade finishes her bottle, goddamn, and states, the girl, Nozumi, right? I like her. She's not afraid to say what's on her mind. She's strong, if not just a little dumb. Jiraiya laughs. She's headstrong, more like it. Honestly, she reminds me of you at that age. Just a bit less violent. She has everyone else's best interest at heart, but she willfully neglects herself. If she keeps this up, she's liable to get hurt. Real hurt. Jiraiya takes another sip of his sake, and Tsunade watches him closely. As she says, that Uchiha brat, he's Fugaku's kid, right? He's just like his old man and brother. Both aloof and distant, tending to be quiet while observing others, letting their natural-born talents do all the work for them. Jiraiya takes another sip of his sake, commenting that this is some good stuff. He then comments, funny you say that. From what I've gathered, Sasuke might be one of the most caring Uchiha I've ever met, aside from the one that Minato trained. And when you meet a Uchiha with a big heart, that makes them all the more powerful. I expect great things from Sasuke in the future. Tsunade orders 2 more bottles of sake, as Jiraiya has just finished his first one. She hands him one of the bottles and keeps one to herself. As she begins to speak, and Naruto, that kid's just a brat. He's arrogant, headstrong, and way too overconfident. It's like he has all the issues of the other two in one. But at least he's not a crybaby anymore. Now he's just dumb. He must not even recognize me anymore. Jiraiya then laughs, stating that Tsunade hit the nail right on the head with that one. But Tsunade then smiles, as she states, but even still, with all his flaws, he's a good kid. Minato raised him right. I can tell that Naruto works hard, and for that reason, I want to She stops herself. Her jovial expression turns sour, as she then looks at Jiraiya and says, but why bring them up? Why start off ranting about your newfound grandchildren? You're not old enough to start reliving your glory days through them, Jiraiya. What's the purpose? Jiraiya smiles. It was just a reminder. Because all 3 of them, all they ever do is argue with each other. Naruto and Izumi have even taken to insulting me. They can be loud, obnoxious, and downright disrespectful at times. But they always look out for each other. And I view them as family. Jiraiya, his whole demeanor changes. His carefree tone turns stern as he states, and if your actions cause them any harm or leads to the village being destroyed, I'll kill you myself, Tsunade. Tsunade pauses, not expecting that from Jiraiya, but she knows he's serious. She says, what? Do you feel guilty about those kids from the Rain Village? It wasn't your fault, Jiraiya. Jiraiya, solemnly, he smiles as he says, I know, but I can't help but blame myself. Yahiko and Konan, they were good kids. They deserve better in this world. And same with you, Tsunade. If you come back to the village, we can change that. We can prevent any more young people from throwing their lives away. They drink in unison, and silence follows. As Jiraiya continues, but tell me, why are you so against coming back to the Leaf? I've already said that you won't need to become the Hokage if you're against the title. And we don't need anything from you but your medical expertise, because Minato is already on his deathbed right now because of Orochimaru. Whatever he promised you isn't worth it. Tsunade pauses, thinking about what Orochimaru told her. As it's confirmed by Jiraiya, she has to believe that it's true. Orochimaru single-handedly threw the village into chaos. She takes a sip of her sake and begins to tear up. As she says, he promised to bring back Dan and Nawaki. Jiraiya watches as he sighs. I know what they meant to you, Tsunade. But you know what Orochimaru has become. For years, I've tried to get him to see the light, but poison clouded his judgment and deluded him. Even if what he promised you is true, would you truly be comfortable watching him pervert the memory of those you've lost? Would you have him bring back Minato next? Tsunade pauses as she stares into her sake, and Jiraiya continues. Tsunade, I know what Minato means to you, and I know that you're afraid to go near him. It took me a while to put the pieces together, Tsunade, but when I did some research on the Namikaze clan, I found out that they've all died years ago. Far too long for Minato to be a blood heir to that clan. It was to remove attachment from you and Dan, wasn't it? Because you're afraid. You're afraid he'll die for being too close to you, Tsunade. But you must know you could never remove the connection that you share with that family. Naruto might not know who you are. Minato might not remember you. But you can never remove the connection that you have, that you are that boy's. Jiraiya then feels a sharp pain in his chest as Tsunade hands him a small vial. She tells him that she slipped a bit of poison in his drink. Jiraiya looks at the vial before he loses consciousness, and he wonders, why did she poison him? Tsunade then cups her hand behind Jiraiya's ear while pretending to check his pulse. And Jiraiya can hear it, hissing from a snake. They were being watched. Tsunade then places a note under Jiraiya's arm and walks away. Meanwhile, Sasuke and Izumi are both covered in sweat and purple chakra. As they gather their breath, they begin running at each other. They clash kunai before kicking off of each other. Sasuke does a massive fire style, fireball jutsu. Nozumi opens one of her scrolls, absorbing the jutsu. She then runs up to Sasuke, holding the scroll open, yelling release, launching Sasuke's attack right back at him. But Sasuke smiles, launching an even bigger fireball at her, knocking her out of the air. As she's hit, knocked down to the ground, she drops a scroll that she was reaching for, labeled oil. And Sasuke says, "You idiot, I've practiced with your father. That trick doesn't work on me. I see it coming a mile away." Sasuke begins to walk over to her to help her up, but she's smiling. Sasuke knows that she's planning something. He activates the Sharingan to try to see what she has planned. As she yells, "Release," flooding the immediate area with oil, Sasuke jumps in the air, avoiding the immediate wave of oil crashing down. Now him and Nozumi stand across from each other, atop a river of oil. And Nozumi laughs, saying, "You cheated, Sasuke. You just activated your Sharingan." But Sasuke yells back, "You cheated first, using an S-class scroll that your dad made for you." She laughs, but her smile quickly turns to a frown as chakra begins to swirl around her. She runs towards him, wind chakra gathering around her fist. Sasuke dodges, but the force from her fist is enough to rustle the leaves from trees miles away and raise the grass at their feet. As he looks at her, he knows that her hands are dangerous at this moment, and the oil on the ground prevents him from using his fire style jutsu. This was her plan all along, to switch the fight to an up-close brawl. But without her sharp Fumingan, she's still at a disadvantage. So why? She must have something else planned. He has no more time to think as Nozumi begins running towards him, her fists still shrouded in heavy winds. He gets in a tight fighting stance. As they get close, Nozumi is attacking with wide swings, forcing Sasuke to square his footing to be able to dodge her strikes, each one aiming for his head. Each one is easy enough to dodge though. He tries to grab her fist, but his arm is thrown off by the extreme violent winds that surround her. It throws his hand away. With his Sharingan, his taijutsu is better than hers by leagues, but this jutsu makes it impossible for Sasuke to counter safely. So, he begins charging lightning in his palm. They trade blows. Sasuke is getting launched far away, and Nozomi falls to her knees after being tased by Sasuke, who tries to stand up, but falls to his legs quick. It only just now hits him, but he has a huge headache. Nozomi falls to her back exhausted as Sasuke's headache subsides. He walks over to her and sits down beside her as she begins talking. You know, Sasuke, I'm jealous of you and Naruto. Naruto is always open about his feelings and what he's thinking, and he can do it without his seal breaking. And then you, Sasuke, you seem like you're always in control over what you feel. I've always envied that about you guys. Sasuke continues to listen as she continues to speak. Sasuke, when we thought you died when we fought that Miss Ninja, I froze. But Naruto didn't. He killed that guy. And then in the Forest of Death, when we fought Orochimaru, I froze again, but you and Naruto were both able to keep your cool. And then with Big Bro Itachi, when he got stabbed, again, I couldn't move. Every important mission we've ever had, I freeze. I feel like I'm the weakest link on our team, and I don't know what to do. After everything, all I could do was fall unconscious, wake up in a hospital, blind. It took till seeing Itachi was alive for me to even start to see again. That's when Sasuke interrupts her. And I'm guessing that's when you decided to try to copy Itachi's personality. She flinches, confirming Sasuke's suspicion as he continues. Yeah, I've noticed. Always trying to smile in the hardest times. Trying to keep your composure when the world is falling to pieces around you. Lying to yourself. I love my brother, but Itachi can be a bigger idiot than Naruto sometimes. She asks Sasuke how long he knew. He tells her since they left the hospital. He notes that Naruto probably noticed it too. She looks down on herself. So I couldn't even convince you guys, huh? Of course not, idiots. We know you. You haven't been yourself. And I've been theorizing this for a while. The only reason you could use your dojutsu when you fought against Orochimaru was because you stopped hiding yourself. You took up Jiraiya's advice and you let your anger go. So listen to Master Jiraiya and stop hiding yourself. What Itachi did was Itachi's decision, because my brother would never abandon a comrade, even at the cost of a mission. And that's why we all love him. So stop blaming yourself and respect our sensei, or you really are the weakest member on our team, Nozomi. If you can't see why my brother put his life out on the line for you, you're a fool. And Nozomi just lies there on the ground, thinking back to all the time she shared with Itachi. They've always been with Sasuke and Naruto. Her family. And Itachi never looked at Sasuke any differently than he looked at Nozomi or Naruto. He always looked at them all the same, as if they were all their younger siblings. Itachi viewed them all as family. It wasn't a sensei thinking their student was too weak. It was a big brother protecting his little sister. And Nozomi, realizing this, finally stops holding it in and begins crying. And Sasuke just sits beside her, not saying a word, just staring at the moon, still listening as she cries. As she finishes, Sasuke helps her up, and they walk back to the hotel room after cleaning up the oil, and they see Naruto sitting up, meditating, surrounded by his clones. And Shizune sees the two come in the room, covered in blood and burns. She calls them both idiots and begins healing them. And as she gets to healing Nozomi, after finishing healing Sasuke, Nozomi tells Shizune that she's ready to talk now. Shizune smiles, taking her into the hall to talk for a while Sasuke sits beside Naruto and his clones and begins meditating alongside them. A few days pass, let's say 6, and the three are outside training till late dawn. Sasuke and Nozomi training the dojutsu. That is a big fucking spider. Oh my god. Okay, so y'all just heard genuine fear, but false alarm. It's just a daddy long leg. He's fine. He's harmless. He's actually just chilling on my hand right now. Let's get back to the story. And Naruto was training his Rasengan. The sun is starting to set and the moon rises as the three continue to train until they all pass out outside. Shizune goes looking for them and finds the three idiots unconscious. She's shocked as she looks at the area that they were training in. Rocks, they're melted and engulfed in black flames that don't show any semblance of going out. Then there's some rocks that look like they could be sliced to ribbons as if they were paper. And then trees left as stumps curved inward. She looks around, but she's even more shocked to see that there's nothing on the ground near the tree stump. No tree shards, no leaves, no curved wood. Nothing. As if the tree's remains were atomized. She looks at Naruto's hands. She looks at Nozumi's hands and Sasuke's. See that they're all covered in bruises. She then carries the three of them back to the hotel room. They wake up, and Naruto and Nozumi give each other high fives as they says they mastered their new jutsu. As they prepare for today is the day that they collect on Tsunade's bet. But it's also the day that Tsunade is to meet with Orochimaru. And I think it's time to go over those new abilities real quick. Let's go. Sasuke is more advanced at his age after being so close with Itachi and his father. He's really good at understanding his ocular powers and what the Sharingan blesses him with. His right eye shoots out black flames of Amaterasu, and his left eye can absorb and control the shape and size of those flames. He can't wait to show his brother. He also has access to the skeletal form of the Susanoo. The more he meditates, the better his control is with this form. His modified curse mark, thanks to Jiraiya, affecting Orochimaru's seal, gives him access to small amounts of sage energy. He chooses not to use it, instead letting the energy store inside of his body for times of emergency. Nozumi, after training with Sasuke, who has such a deep understanding of the Sharingan, she now understands that her right eye could send out invisible blades of chakra that can slice through anything. Her left eye ability hasn't been found out yet, but Sasuke and Nozumi both agree that she probably needs to test that in battle, for it might be too dangerous to use when they have no clue what it could be, and being so far outside contact with Nozumi's mother. And no, she does not have access to the Susanoo because I haven't made a design. Don't judge me. There's also her new Tempest Fist jutsu that she used on Sasuke. If she can strike an opponent's head, it shakes their brain, giving them, get this, shaky baby syndrome, a real disease that happens if you shake a baby too much. Or a person, an adult male, can get shaky baby syndrome. It's just kind of funny, but also debilitating. It stuns the person, leaving them open for an attack, which is perfect for her new sharp Fumigan ability. She's also been training with Shizune on the side, learning the basics of medical ninjutsu. She's now able to heal small cuts and bruises, so that her and her brothers can continue to train for longer periods. In Naruto, his training was more on his own, due to him already having a decent mastery of his Fumigan, wanting instead to work on his new jutsu with the base Rasengan. Being too dangerous to practice this on his friends and family, he does his new Rasengan on his own, and he finds the new devastating Rasen Shuriken attack, because it looks like a Rasengan inside of a shuriken. Crazy. Naruto is creative, my friends. And just like in canon, this jutsu destroys its targets on a molecular level. Like Sasuke, Naruto is growing at an alarming rate. He is now thinking of new variants of this jutsu. And meanwhile, Tsunade is standing off with Orochimaru and Kabuto, while Jiraiya is lying in wait, hidden, ready to back up Tsunade, while Naruto is spying on them, activating his Fuingan to look for Tsunade's chakra so that he could start the contest. But instead, he gets furious when he senses whose chakra is out there. His Fuingan morphs into the Vermilion Fuingan, the fox energy starting to leak through his rage. Nozumi and Sasuke both, eyes turning into the Mangekyo and Mangekyo Sharp Fuingan, respectively. As Naruto turns back to tell them, "Do you guys sense that too?" They nod their head, yeah. As Naruto says, "Orochimaru, our target, the man who hurt Big Bro Itachi, he's right out there. And so is Jiraiya. His chakra center is low. He might be hiding, or he's hurt real bad." He looks at his team, and he asks, "Are you guys ready?" They nod. As they do, they all jump out of the window at high speeds as Shizune follows. And they head towards what will certainly become a battlefield that I think we're going to explore on the next episode. So, did you like it? Did you hate it? What you rate it? I really have to get to work, so this end section's going to be insanely quick so I can edit this while at work and then get to my doctor's appointment. But I do want to apologize that this video took so long to get out. I don't want to say that I was procrastinating, but I was. I took one day to myself, and that was a mistake because literally the next day, my little brother's house got shot. A bullet, a stray bullet, went through his kitchen into his living room where he was sleeping, and he could have been KID. Now that's some dumb stuff. So we had to go over there and see what the situation was. It could have went really, really bad, and I'm happy he's okay. But I just have to say, sorry that this video came out long. If I would have just worked on that video that day, this video would have been out like 3 days ago. Sorry, I hope that you can understand that that is a very pressing issue that I had to deal with. I'm sorry if this is at an inconvenient time for you. Please watch this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. I really have to get to work. It's getting super late. Love you. Gotta go. OnoKage out. Peace.
Nobody speak, nobody get choked. If you run the homie, gonna get smoked. No time for the lame ass jokes. I'm the GOAT. You a gringo when that story's been told. I make money moves, controlling every view. Oh no, you got hella proof, but no one's helping you. What's wrong? Now you on your own, you really want to smoke? Oh no, Chico really done it wrong. What's wrong? The hollow meta in the sky list, bro. Keep talking crazy, I might go post though. Always trouble when they go too far. Nobody messing me familiar. Father.